This was my first paper as a freshman at Regis University for RCC 200 course, Chinese Food Culture in America, instructed by Professor Chang. My task in this paper was to interpret Eddie Huang's memoir, Fresh Off the Boat. Here is my paper, and now we are going to go through some important revisions that were made for the final draft.
Okay, so I will be looking at the body paragraph, and feel free throughout this video to pause and read the paragraph beforehand, but I'm going to go ahead and make the edits. So throughout the paper, I noticed, let's get to the rough draft. The specific quote used in this paragraph is more than 3 lines, so for that we will use an indent as shown in the final draft, and with that you do not need quotation marks, and you also don't need a period. It is common for people to indent after the quote, but this suggests that there's a new paragraph, and we don't want that. We want this to be one paragraph. Another thing I noticed within the rough draft is the analysis after the quote. So here the author makes a statement that is particularly unclear. So what I would do is just break that up into 2 sentences as seen in the final draft, just so the reader doesn't get lost in the lengthy sentence and it becomes more clear. Another thing I noticed within the body paragraph is the word things. Usually when the word things, it's very broad and not specific enough. And in the edits seen in this sentence, we see that the writer made the edit of making it more clear about what the particular thing they are talking about. And just other things to keep in mind when writing body paragraph is to make sure that the quotes used in your body paragraph support your argument throughout the paper. So a question you can ask yourself while writing is, why did I choose this particular quote? And based on your answer, this can be your analytical piece, or if it doesn't relate to your paper, it can just be edited out. And just another thing to keep note of is making sure that each sentence has a purpose within the body paragraph.
In reading the conclusion for this paper, I noticed a nice wrap-up of information as well as what the writer took from Eddie's experiences, especially with the sentence starting off with, "in fresh on the boat," right here. The last couple of sentences represent an effective answer to the question, "So what?" by incorporating Eddie's quotes with the writer's own analysis. One suggestion I have for the writer here is to be aware of the verb tense. Sometimes it is inconsistent. For example, there's present tense here and past tense here. Just something to keep in mind. Another thing I would do is to try to combine similar sentences with conjunctions or semicolons, like this one and this one. Instead of, "and creates his own identity through his experiences, period," Eddie states. Perhaps the writer could do, "creates his own identity through his experiences by stating, every part of me was something I sought out." Conclusions are tricky because they can require different things depending on the professor that assigns the assignment. So if you're unsure about the conclusion that you write, make sure to talk to your professor.
Since this was my first college paper, I was really nervous. Once I received my first draft back from my professor, I was a little disappointed in myself. As a growing writer, it is important to acknowledge that shitty first drafts are part of the writing process. The revision process is important as it allows you to reflect on your work and grow as a writer.